Hi, everybody. Welcome. It is Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. This is a Project 2025 special report. This is Chapter 3, Great Advice from Project 2025. Now, I know what you're thinking. How is that possible? How could you even pretend to say that Project 2025 has anything to add to my life, to your life, to the sparklers' lives in any way? Ethically, morally, intellectually, psychosexually, not at all. You're absolutely right. But materially, as far as plans, strategies, tactics, that could possibly be something we could glean from this. Now, why do I bring this up? Besides, I know ahead of time what this is going to be because these are the only videos that I pre-watch because this is a special report. I would like to take you now, if I may, and join me. And by the way, hello, chat room. Lovely to see you guys here. I know I'm on early. That's what this is for. Regular show, regular time. But I'm going to get this out of the way and try to nail this in a relative short time because this is one of the shorter videos. It's under a half hour. So hopefully I'll be able to get this done in the next 45 minutes to an hour and then start the regular show like normal or abnormal, as it were. Now, but let's take a look. ProPublica got its hands on these Project 2025 training videos. And this is what I'm going to be looking at over the next couple of weeks. So we're going to cover all of the ones that are available, go through the whole thing, 30-minute video, maybe 4 hours. All right, calm down, chat room. This one in particular is more about what they're sort of planning and how they're going to carry stuff out than actually the lies they tell. That's the stuff that takes work. This, on the other hand, is actually, well, I'll show you, but this is their strategy for social media messaging. There is another video that's sort of attached to this one that I won't do today. I'll do it another time. And that video is about how to use social media to pass legislation, which is all propaganda. Like that one is bananas. But this one is just kind of the meat and potatoes, the mechanics of it all. So I thought I'd show you what they do, to just show you, maybe you're new to the idea that people do their, political entities, just like corporations, do these massive strategy sessions on how to convey messaging months, even years in advance. Okay. And this is what that is. So this is Project 2025's private training video, social media messaging. Here we go. Let me set this up so that it's lined up right there. And then off we go. Yeah, they say they're publishing them. And the guy...
My name is Ben Friedmann.
Oh, yeah. So this guy, by the way, is magic. Let me tell you.
Hi, my name is Ben Friedmann.
Hi, Ben.
During the Trump administration, I had the privilege of serving as the Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Digital Strategy.
Did you hear that title? Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Digital Strategy. Okay. Yeah, I know it sounds very gurgly. Yeah.
In the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of Global Public Affairs.
That's a mouthful. They had this guy sequestered in an office down the hall.
First of all, congratulations on being part.
Thank you. Thanks very much. He apparently knows this is the greatest live stream that's ever happened. And even the early ones are huge, so giant audience, lots of lovely people. Please like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Hal Sparks, Mega Worldwide. It's a great show. I mean, just come on. He knows. Listen to him. And he was sequestered in this office down the hall from the Oval Office for weeks at a time before anybody even knew he was there.
Part of this program. I consider my time working as a political appointee as one of the most challenging, formative, and impactful roles in my career.
Yes, you're right. This guy is magic, and he's overwhelming with the charm, and that's why they put him in charge of tweeting.
The actions that the American people entrust a newly elected president to deliver are not possible without the placement of thousands of competent, dedicated individuals as political appointees across dozens of agencies.
By the way, these would be, when a Democrat is in office, these people are referred to as unelected bureaucrats, right? Political appointees who have no votes from the American people. But when it's Donald Trump, he knows the best people. You must be one of them.
That is why I believe so strongly in the importance of initiatives like this one to ensure the principles and policies of a presidential platform can be effectively implemented starting on day one.
Boom. Now, this is the opening of these videos. And for the record, you're seeing the symbol of the President of the United States. I just want you to know that these folks consider themselves part of the transition team already, and they are. All of these people work in Trump's transition team, the ones who are doing these videos for Project 2025. So this whole, I don't know anything about it, blah, blah, blah. All right. Part of that may be true because he may not know that these are Project 2025 things. A lot of this shit he thinks are his ideas to start with, even though somebody whispered it in his ear. He's, think of him as the syphilitic Robert the Bruce with some sort of Rasputin whispering in his ear.
In the eyes of many in the world,
The conservative movement presents, again, the title is amazing. I guess if you consider yourself a conservative, try to get out. You can't. They own you.
Every 4-year ceremony we accept as normal is nothing less than a miracle.
In America, we understand that a nation is only living as long as it is striving.
Insert, Woody Allen dead shock joke.
Only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger.
This great nation will endure as it has endured. Will revive and...
Again, they show, I believe, Eisenhower speaking, and they play Eisenhower speaking and then show George W. Bush talking through a bullhorn at 9/11.
will prosper.
Or at Ground Zero.
Whether we go forward together with courage or turn back to policies that weakened our economy, diminished...
By the way, it's no mistake that they showed Joe Biden with a mask on signing a piece of legislation saying during the phrase they say, go back to weaken our assignment, right? That kind of stuff.
Our leadership in the world. America's future will be in your hands.
And this is, again, the final title of this is Project 2025 Presidential Transition Project. Yeah. They want to tee up Trump's presidency so that he can carry out what they want without any lag because they expect him to do a lot of golfing and probably pass away. I don't think they expect him to be assassinated. I think he's just going to, they believe he's going to keel over. Best practices in social media to advance policy. Now, why wouldn't social media advance policy? Why wouldn't it just be to communicate the policy itself? How would you advance policy through social media? Right? I suppose maybe you get people involved and in a tangential way, the public sees what you're saying and then they call their congressperson and pressure them. Maybe that's the idea. But I got to say, it sounds a bit propaganda-ish and a lot manipulative. And that's because it is. Here we go.
My goal today is to offer you a unique...
By the way, a lot of these folks, because of where Trump put them, have enormous titles because of where they were. Strategically placed bullshit artists.
First-hand perspective on how to most effectively use social media to advance policy as an administration official.
And don't worry, it can help you grow your makeup video email list on YouTube and make you a big star. I'm not kidding. They basically just snipe how to do this from any business. Almost all the techniques he's going to talk about in this are kind of standard operating procedure, dumbed down for what would effectively be the QAnons that Trump is going to put into positions of power.
While at the State Department, I led the largest internal reorganization at that agency in the last 2 decades.
That's because no one reorganizes the State Department, and what they did barely did, and he was constantly changing secondary personnel. That's like saying, during my time in the State Department, I oversaw the most chaotic period in the history of the State Department, where everyone was backbiting so much that we had to jettison a bunch of people for sexual harassment. Just so you know. I don't want you to think he came in with this like clean strategy and they turned it into a well-oiled machine, and then went, wait a minute, you're not supposed to put oil in this? Right.
Combining the domestic and international digital media departments to create a global organization made up of over 120 full-time staffers and many more contractors operating across 5 continents.
Yeah, you heard that right. 5 continents of social media managers and people pushing stuff out. Now, this guy, think of this guy as Captain Bot Farm.
My final year leading this new organization, we achieved more digital and social media engagement and reach than the previous 13 years combined.
Yeah, but that's because that's true of every year since social media started. Like, it is a growing industry. So, but still, I don't want to step on the dude's toes. What he's about to say is, again, social media for dummies.
And grew multiple key social media
in deference to the kind of people Trump hires.
Accounts by several million followers. This was not by luck, chance, or a few viral posts.
No, we purchased large bot farms from overseas by leveraging the power of the presidency against our allies and our enemies alike.
It was the culmination of a multifaceted strategic overhaul of the approach and systems for content production, approval, and distribution. This conversation is going to cover 3 distinct chapters.
Excellent. 3 chapters. Get your notepads out, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready to take notes. This is going to cover, this is Project 2025's Project 2025 private training video, social media messaging to manipulate policy.
First, recommendations for operating effectively within a government agency.
Obviously, you want to be subversive and learn how to use all the buzzwords while undermining the function of democracy. Gotcha. A lot of wink and a nod. Move all your shit to Telegram and Signal and all the and don't have a Gmail account. I think.
Second, building your toolkit for managing social media output.
Yes, this is the part that he just basically stole from a book.
And third, principles to guide your content creation process.
Excellent. First, try and be as racist as you can. Don't hold back. There's no such thing as bad press, even when it results in some of our overseas foreign assets getting thrown out of buildings.
Let's get
Burrito Bowl in the chat says, is this Scientology? I have news for you, Burrito Bowl, and everybody else in the chat room. This is the same strategy they use. This is the same strategy everybody uses. There's nothing new about what this guy's about to tell you. So if you feel bad that you're like, you hear some part of it and you're like, oh, I should probably, that's a good idea. It's because it's not original to him and it's exactly how everything runs. But I want you to know that they are strategizing. A couple things to watch out for is their timeline on what they do and their control of that message.
Get started.
This is part 1, recommendations for operating effectively within a government agency, which is something no Trump appointee ever wants to do. Why would I want to operate effectively within a government agency when my whole purpose is to torpedo said agency? Right. What they mean effectively is how to take it over, how to get your message through there, even if if the deep state's trying to stop you or some nonsense.
Welcome to the administration.
Thank you. It's nice to be president. I think I deserve it, and I'm proud to be here. I think Biden did a great job, Kamala, and then Gavin was terrific for a little while, and then we AI basically helped us live lives of absolute pleasure and now we have most of our government is done digitally, so we just take turns being president, and it's nice to be here. I mean, even if it's just a ceremonial role that we all get to be once a year. Thank you very much. Yes, so welcome to the Sparks administration. You're fired. I'm kidding. I'm just messing around with you. Okay, go ahead.
Not in Kansas anymore. Whether you're coming from the Hill, a campaign, or the private sector, working within
or Kansas, I guess.
Government agency is a whole new ballgame. You will be presented with unfamiliar challenges, and there will be a learning curve.
Yes, many of you will be in positions where actually doing a good job is expected of you, and you can't just blatantly sexually harass the women around you. Sorry, this is not the Trump organization. This is a government position.
As you try to understand the culture and processes, not just of the U.S. government, but of your specific agency and organization. Since every agency is different, I will just touch on some best practices for how to empower your team, assuming that, similar to my experience, a significant portion of your social media and communications operation will be staffed by civil servants. In my case, it was 100%.
Right, because there are no military spokespeople in the State Department, or in most organizations, with the exception of the actual military.
If coming from a political role, you've had the privilege of working alongside a highly motivated team with deep political alignment and a sense of urgency.
Yes, well, that all ends today.
Your new team probably doesn't have the same politics as you, possibly even the opposite.
You're going to be surrounded by deep state operatives who don't want you to press send on that big own the libs hashtag trend you're going out for.
Social media management isn't a new adventure to them or a stepping stone to something else. They've been doing it as a full-time job for potentially many years.
Right, and you coming in there and telling them how to reinvent the wheel will just annoy them.
And may have strong feelings about what they perceive as the right way to do things in that building.
The same way you have strong feelings about the right way to do things in that building. But of course, you're right because Donald Trump picked you. He doesn't know your name, and he's not going to bother to remember it. And if he makes a mistake on social media, he's going to fire you and blame you for it. And you'll probably get death threats from his followers from then on, even though you were a total loyalist. But that's not important.
Some of which may clash with your own perspective. First,
in a democracy, how do we end that?
Find and empower your allies in the civil service.
Right. Start a little Slack group of other bigots and weirdos.
Do not let complicators and naysayers poison the well.
Yeah, like Bill Barr, or Jeff Sessions, or John Kelly, or Rex Tillerson, or Trump himself, I think.
People like to give government employees a bad rap. In some cases, that may be deserved, but I found that similar to most large organizations, there's a bell curve of individual quality.
Yes, with all the Trumpies at the top and everyone else ignorant at the bottom.
There are some people with low competence and motivation, a lot of average folks, and also some people with really exceptional motivation and ability. A key to your success will be to identify smart, motivated civil servants who are
I think he's talking about me.
Eager to support your work and limiting the influence and involvement of those who are going to hurt morale or be a drag on the quality or volume of output.
Yeah, don't be a drag, bro.
There are qualified individuals who understand that the role of civil service is to support the elected administration.
Or the public, through, a consistent functioning government, who, doesn't vacillate between whether or not they believe math administration to administration. All right.
And will be eager to execute the mission. I was fortunate to come across some of them. When I did, I elevated their position to maximize their impact and prevent others who might not have brought that same energy to the table from interfering with their efforts.
Right. And the way he did that was by making them recite the Wiggy Wagga QAnon oath. I'm kidding. He just means people who don't sleep.
Your time in the administration will go quickly. So make
Yes, Donald Trump, if he gets reelected, will probably be jailed before he even takes office. Your time in office will be very short because it's mostly imaginary.
Make sure to choose your battles and do not let personnel issues distract you from your core mission.
No. All right. Best practices for how to empower your team. Let's learn how. Team. All right, CSL, Andrea, listen up. I'm taking some notes. Here we go. Find and empower your allies in the civil service. Okay, so I need someone with a mining cap with a light on it. And I'll go, all right. Identify smart, motivated civil servants who are eager to support your work. Limit the influence and involvement of those who are going to hurt morale or hinder the quality or volume of output. So I guess hang out in the bushes till they go in the house and then let the air out of their tires and then fill a bellows with the flu virus and then push it in through a hole in the window. If their tweets suck. This so far. Good. So far, so bad. Anytime now. We've read it already. We got it. Okay.
Second, convey your policy priorities internally. A constant refrain that I would hear from...
Convey your policy. Shouldn't the administration do that to you? Shouldn't you be conveying the policies of the administration? Shouldn't that go to everybody? You know what? Screw it. What do I know? You're the deputy assistant secretary for digital outreach that totally, sold all of our passwords to Russia. Do what you're going to do.
Leadership.
I'm sorry I dared to question you.
Is that agency staff refused to push priority messaging. The assumption was that individuals at the agency did not agree with the policies and thus were obstructing them. This may have been true in some cases. What I personally found while managing a team of over 100 civil service communicators,
yeah, that's a lot,
was that often policy priorities were not well understood. When you are coming...
Oh. So like, let's say there was an official policy, like a bill that passed and was signed into law. And then there was a weird, illegal interpretation of it by the administration that they tried to implement. And then on top of that, there was a tweet from the president that said, nobody can come in the country from these shithole countries, Kofefe. And they had you're saying they had a hard time figuring out WTF. I think you had a WTF problem. I see.
From a campaign, committee, or Hill office. It's fair to assume that your colleagues know the policy priorities inside out and are experienced in articulating them.
I got to say, maybe that applies to Boebert if she's taking you out for dinner and a movie, but I don't know that anybody else has got any consistency that isn't. Never mind.
Them, in part because their own personal beliefs match these policies. Don't assume that your staff has articulated these policies before. If you wish to deploy the manpower at your disposal,
especially if no one has, no one would, and no one ever ended up doing it.
Need to not only train them on the policies, the what, the how, and the why, but also keep them up to date on how policies are changing and adapting through the use of externally shareable talking points, quotes, and other approved messaging material.
Yes, it also, thank God we're stepping outside the realm of bureaucrat speak into the realm of just talking naturally. Yeah, what he means is setting up Slack and other things so that everybody's on message about the brand and everybody has how they're going to articulate out the points about each policy. These are our talking points. These are the quotes and only the quotes that come about this that you're going to put in social media, Facebook posts, Twitter posts, shit like that. And then after that, is these the acceptable images? Make sure they're all in one place and nobody goes outside that. And if you're confused about it and you're making people actually write messages, they want like a reference thing so that nobody interprets it and then goes, I'm sorry, I'm a good person, and I read that thinking one thing, and you actually mean the opposite, and no good person would ever say something like that. I'm very confused about what I'm supposed to type right now.
Every policy vertical that is a priority for your office should have documents that are accessible to the entire team and updated regularly with messaging that is approved for external use. This will not only allow you to move faster, but also assure clarity for all those tasked to support your efforts.
So yeah, this stuff is corporate speak. This is, this guy might as well be telling you how to work for Garmin or Kroger or Kroger's or Walmart or something. This is of all these ProPublica videos, this is probably the one closest to showing you how to operate the fryer at McDonald's. The video they give you a link and you go home and watch it, and then you come back and they physically show you how to do it, but you should know it by the time you show up for work on Monday. That's what this is. None of these are bad points. They're fairly common, but it's just, well, you'll see. They're setting up all this kind of like, this is how you do normal stuff, and you should be very professional about it and get all these, and don't fight with people. Just get it out there, because your whole purpose is to make sure that women don't have positions of power. Like, yeah.
Third, get continual feedback. I recommend the SWOT method.
If you don't like what someone's saying about you in the office, call the police and tell them that you're inside their home and you have a gun and you're losing your mind, and that they should rush to that address and they dare anyone to try and stop them. Oh, that's not what that different kind of SWAT method? I would just say, when it comes to like social media and stuff, I would just not use SWAT or swatting as a communication. What do I know?
Upon joining state, I walked into a department where morale was low. Teams were not equipped to succeed.
Yes, Trump had just won. I can't imagine why everybody was morose. We're being run by an idiot. Hurrah!
Succeed on many levels. And as a result, they were making mistakes and producing low quality work. To have a well-oiled machine, you need to know what the problems are and why they are there before you can fix them.
I disagree. I mean, can't you just I would just shove your hands in there and start monkeying around with whatever's in there, and it'll fix itself.
Or at least decide if they should be addressed. Everyone will find their own best approach, but a sincere effort to build lines of communication from leadership to staff and staff up to leadership will pay dividends.
Again, corporate speak. I like this. This is one of the guys that Trump would say he came very highly recommended before he was fired because Trump misspelled a word and he had to blame somebody.
3 tools that I found to be very beneficial were one-on-ones, which I held weekly with each of my 4 office directors.
So 1 on 20s or 1 on 35s, because they represent 35 people in the different chains. You had one-on-ones with the overallers. That's not so much a one-on-one. That's like a team leader meeting, individual team leader meetings. Okay.
And my senior advisor, SWOT analysis, which stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Oh, SWOT. Sorry. When most of us think SWAT, we're waiting for an A in there, but you mean SWOT. Oh, did Gorka come up with this one? Gorka. Oh, SWOT.
And an end-of-week email to staff highlighting key priorities, accomplishments, and some positive shout-outs.
Yeah. Hey, team, great work this week on making sure that women with septicemia will have to drive over 300 miles to even see a doctor that's not afraid. Especially you, Carol. Holy shit.
I used the SWOT analysis.
Have a great weekend. Try not to drink enough.
For my monthly meetings with each of the digital offices. A template was distributed to each office for every individual to complete from their point of view. I reviewed them, and then we held an office-wide meeting where every staffer presented their responses, and we discussed them as a team.
Again, corporate speak bullshit, but this is one of the videos where they're like, wow, I'm part of something real. This is like a real job. Right.
As feedback was addressed, the number of items in the weaknesses and threats buckets went down.
Because they actually went down, or you just got tired of bringing them up? I'm just saying. Sometimes in a really shitty work environment, the weaknesses and threats part, you just go, fuck, it's not going to make any difference. He's always like that. One of the biggest weaknesses is our president. One of our biggest threats is our president. Well, that's not going to go. That's not going to go away anytime soon. Stop including him. Who keeps putting Trump's stupid fucking mouth in the suggestion box? It's not funny. And don't think I haven't noticed that it's not in the same handwriting and it's a lot of different people. You know? I'm still going to tell them it's one person printing it on a printer from home because there's no way this one's from me. All right.
Might have been an intense approach, but it worked well for a large organization going through significant changes. Overall,
also, no, it doesn't. It sounds like normal corporate gobbledygook. Yeah, 101.
these efforts helped identify problems that prevented the team from maximizing their potential, communicate priorities from leadership, and build trust among what started out as a highly skeptical group of personnel.
Yes, as soon as they found significant ways to avoid this asshole and the notes in his regular meetings, once they figured out what his schedule was, they could just avoid him the rest of the time. I've already forgotten what SWOT means. Yeah, it's strengths, weaknesses, what was it? Old folks, overtime? No. Ovaltine and threats. I'm just saying, in your review of the notes from what you just said, this part right here, which is supposed to keep us up with the notes, wouldn't you use the SWOT analysis? Like, because it says collaborate on the team's strengths and weaknesses, but it doesn't say which strengths and weaknesses and threats, but it doesn't say what all of them are. Does that make? And that's it. When you go to the SWOT analysis and go SWOT and you'd show what each one means, and then you'd go even an expectation of why am I helping this asshole? Sorry. That's my problem. I'm just too much of a goddamn Boy Scout. And scene. There you go.
4. Get support and buy-in from your leadership. The government is a very hierarchical organization.
Really? Is there like one person who's sort of the primary, and then they have a vice, somebody underneath them, and then there's like are there cabinet heads? Like, how is it? Because I thought it was just like a free-for-all. So it's not run like Jan 6 is what you're saying. Because I thought that's how it's the people's house, and every 4 years they stampede in there carrying whatever flag they want, take a shit, beat somebody up, threaten to hang somebody, and then magically we have a government again in a couple weeks. That's not how it works? Oh. So there's some sort of organizational structure.
Personnel at the very bottom have little ability to approve or change anything.
I should hope so. That's why they're at the bottom, I think, right? They would be at the implementation level, not the decision level, because they would, I don't know, I'm nuts. All right.
The further up you go in the ranks, the more power someone has.
All right, maybe. I don't know. Seems weird.
To just simply say, yes, let's do it.
Right. I think there's only like 4 people.
The most effective tool against bureaucratic pushback is to have the support of political appointees higher up in the ladder. At the state.
Yeah. So you can tattle. It's very important to have the leverage of knowing the person that can fire the person that's a pain in your ass. So you can go, I'm going to tell Steven, and then storm out of their office. It's a great tool. Don't be afraid to use the old, I'm going to tell Steven ripcord. Just anytime there's a problem. Think of Steve as your own personal fire extinguisher. In case of emergency, break Steven.
State Department, I found that civil servants were very adamant, often infuriatingly so, on operating within the hierarchy.
Didn't you just say that's how it's supposed to work? Aren't you? Yeah. So you can't just make shit up as an implementer, and then if they go, what? Are you sure this is what Steven wants? And you're like, yeah, Steve told me. Okay? That's what we're doing. I don't think so. I mean, in the Slack, it says we're doing something else. Look, who's here? Huh? Mr. Slack? Have you ever met him? Huh? Is Slack somebody who walks in here? Hey, Slack, what's going on? No. There's me, and then there's Steven. Okay? And Steven's not here right now. So I am Steven's medulla oblongata right now.
They believed they knew exactly what you could do or could not do.
And they were right most of the time.
Or have them do based on your rank. The more that it is known that you work on behalf of and are trusted and empowered by those in positions above you, with the absolute ace card being a mandate from the White House, the easier it will be to get things done. When things get
except when it isn't true. Just saying. If you don't have that, that's when they'll tend to go, no, I'm from the Office of Inspector General. I'm here to make sure you assholes don't break the law. So you can't actually go tattle on me. It doesn't work like that. That Congress can come kick my ass. You go talk to them.
Difficult, having leadership being willing to step in, often just in the form of replying to an email to have your back, will remove a ton of friction that can otherwise stand in your way.
Right. When the staff is like, this can't be right. And then the person above you is such a lunatic that they'll write an email going, yep, that's what we're doing. And everybody's like, all right, okay. Captain, set course for iceberg. Get support and buy-in from leadership. Shouldn't you have that to start with? Shouldn't you just have directive from leadership? Shouldn't it be clear what leadership is saying? All right. Obviously, by the way, this is a problem most White Houses don't have. I'm dead serious. And that the Trump organization and the Trump campaign and then the Trump White House ultimately had, because so many things they did were either illegal or completely useless, that people who knew how things worked or knew what was legal were constantly going, you can't do that. You'll kill a bunch of people, stupid. And they go, yes, I can. Yes, I can. And they go, no, you can't. Go ask him. All right, I'll ask him. All right, now go ask the Inspector General and clear it with legal. Why? I just asked him and he said yes. Yeah, but he answers to them too. You both answer to them. No, I don't. Yes, you do. That's why this happened. That's what we just saw. Those last 4 sentences is this bunch of shit. Yeah? Is him going, how to avoid people calling you out on your bullshit. Yeah. Building your toolkit for managing social media output. Now, this is the kind of run-of-the-mill stuff. This is actually, like I said, mechanically useful. So you might want to actually take notes on this. He basically got this from a Learning Annex course, I think. Yeah. Now,
I'm going to walk through the toolkit that I recommend for producing social media as an administration official. If you're currently part of a well-run social media operation, very few of these
I like to think I am, but only because I helmed the greatest live stream in the history of the world. Like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell if you feel like it. You don't have to, because I don't care, because it's so great. Why would you want to miss it in the first place? And also Super Chats, and also patreon.com/HalSparks. That's why. But as far as the other stuff, I don't even know how that works.
Recommendations will be a surprise. But I believe that you will find them to be of even greater value while working as an appointee.
Yeah.
1. Your approval process. Document your team's approval process in detail.
Yes. Micromanagement. It's the key to annoying all of your creatives.
Keep it as lean as possible.
Right? Yes. Lean and direct, because, as we all know, the simpler rules are the most enforceable.
So as to not slow down or complicate getting content out the door.
Yeah. Don't worry about spelling or bigoted or racist phrases that might be interpreted correctly as bigoted or racist. If somebody calls you out later, you'll pretend that they're the one interpreting it that way and you never meant it that way. You can always clean up with more bullshit. That's the great thing. Who needs a mop when you have a wheelbarrow full of turds at your disposal?
Everyone in the organization should have a copy and confirm their understanding. It should all.
Great. Yes. Do they do it in a ceremony where everybody puts up their hand in sort of a slight incline pointed at the ceiling, Laura Ingraham style, and then they all, repeat the nonconformist oath?
Also be formally approved in writing by your leadership. When you get the inevitable.
Wouldn't you do that first? Never mind.
Who approved this email from someone very high up? You will thank me.
Yeah. He did. I'm out. That's when Trump yells at your office, you can go, fuck him. I wasn't even here. I never even saw these assholes before. Is your way out. Hype train. All right. And by the way, I do deserve a hype train for this, Twitch folks. Building your toolkit for managing other guys. This is basically the bureaucracy part of it. Then they set up their stuff, like what it looks like. This is the branding process stuff.
2. Style guide.
Style guide, baby. Let's do this. Everybody wears the same lipstick, and everybody gets the same lip plumper. I don't care if you're Eric Bowling or Kimberly Guilfoyle. Just marzipan right in the upper lip until you start to look like Daffy Duck, and then fill in the bottom one so it looks like two manhole covers slamming together. And then after that, just fill your cheeks until you can't see your ears anymore. That's how you do it. That's a style guide.
The White House will create and make available a White House style guide.
Can you imagine? Please, God, someone give me the Trump White House style guide. I need to see this. Because you know it's got Cheeto dust all over it, and fingerprints and coffee stains and like, like in all caps on one page. Never correct spelling, right?
Creating a separate style guide for your agency, as we did at State, will be incredibly valuable. If you're not
it'll sell on eBay after all this is over for $12.
familiar with style guides, they contain everything from the fonts to the color palettes, logos, and icons that are most commonly used by your organization and guidelines for how to use them.
This is the U.S. government, dum-dum. I'm just saying, there's like all that shit's kind of worked out. You know, nobody's going to total revamp. I'm tired of the red, white, and blue. We're going with cyan, fuchsia, and lavender. What? Yeah, all of it. And Veterans Day, get rid of the blue and the green. We're going fiery red explosions. You think rockets, red glare, baby? Yeah, it's the White House one. You're not going to pick the White House. Is just what I'm saying.
This is one of the most valuable tools for making sure your content is
rose
visually
gold. Yeah, rose gold is everything's. That's what we're going to do, darling. Rose gold for everything.
consistent. Anyone who is new to the team or supporting your team will also be better equipped to produce on-brand materials.
By the way, this is again really common in all like marketing stuff. The weird part is that they have this secondary like America First version in the White House.
3, template your creatives.
Yeah, don't let them think. Okay. The key to creativity is narrow confines and limited words.
One of my initiatives at the State Department was a full branding overhaul for everything digital.
That's a lot. A full branding overhaul? So you're just not using the American flag then? You said full branding overhaul. And crazy me, I think words matter. So to me, a full branding overhaul is, we're not going with English. That's for one. Let's start from scratch. We are not using English, okay? We are not at all. Not just simple language, just none. And no American flags. Gonzo.
The rebrand
I'm just saying, no, he didn't.
impacted
He's going to papyrus as the fucking typeface.
all platforms and content we touched. You can even see the day that it was implemented if you scroll to the right place in the State Department Twitter feed. The grid goes from looking like every single post was produced by a different person working for a different organization, a total lack of consistency or cohesion, to an incredibly aligned and purposeful visual aesthetic.
Yes, we like the entire thing to sort of nice, tight, thin rows of people with all the same shoulders and whatnot, and everyone with the symbol attached properly in the place and on the hat, you know? And everyone is walking in lines, these things, you know? We don't have this State Department idea that there's other countries and cultures and we integrate with them. No! We are us and you are you!
That not only looks good, but was designed to be more effective at communicating messages on social media.
Yes, and not just the message itself, but the message on top of the message, which is there will be no variance, resistance is futile. It's basically the underneath the the little parts of this,
I selected a tiger team of internal designers as well as an external specialist we hired from the campaign world to...
Really? You brought someone onto the social media team that worked in the campaign world. Weird. You couldn't tell from all the F-ups that happened in the Trump administration when it came to international meetings and our relationships with our allies and stuff that was tweeted and posted that caused rifts between our longtime allies and brought us closer to Armageddon and a couple places. Never mind.
Build several dozen social media graphic templates that aligned with our style guide and fit almost every possible messaging use case we had.
Because if it does not fit in this, we are not saying anything.
We also created a set of social media video templates, all square, with captions, and with a thumbnail for the first frame.
Fabulous. That's great. That is the key to being a powerful Facebooker.
All very important social media content best practices.
Unless, of course, the site that you're trying to do stuff on takes landscape videos or the vertical frame ones, unless they aren't square on that site, in which case, I guess, free for all.
That were not currently being deployed at the department. With this robust guide, the social media team was able to task graphic design personnel by telling them which template to use and then providing them new copy and images to apply. This revolutionized speed and consistency of our social media output.
Also, he's just talking about volume, because if you don't care about how a message is received, it is a lot easier to just shit that message out. And that's one of the keys to this, is that if you're a brand like a soda or something like that, you have your limited stuff, and the feedback you get is done in sort of focus groups ideas. And if you use it, sometimes you avoid it entirely because you're trying to buck the trend, and sometimes you actually absorb it, and go, our big fans aren't liking this, so we'll just shift the messaging on this. What he's essentially saying is, we set up these like streams of thought, and we crowbarred everything into that, regardless of how it might be received, which is fascinating from a State Department point of view.
Your goal is to maximize the output and impact of your social media.
Yeah, impact, yes. Output, not so much.
Not reinvent the wheel with every post.
Okay. Uniformity is not, is not monotony. Just saying. And he seems to be kind of commingling the two. But this is it's fabulous. Having a style guide is a great idea, guys, if you have a brand. And if you have a brand that, if you fuck up your messaging, won't start a small war in Yemen. see where it might be a little different than, say, I got a band show coming up and in Seattle next week, and in Portland, by the way. And I put up ads about that. And if I got to say, if my band ads could be misread because they were off template, and that caused the Middle East to flare up and tens of thousands of people to open fire on each other, I think I would worry less about the kind of material consistency and more about what I'm actually communicating. It's just me, because it's the State Department. But and it's not like the U.S. government has the same symbols and seals and stuff that we put on everything to make it official. Just make one up. I'm sure this guy printed his own coins too.
4, a content calendar. You can easily create a content calendar.
It's true. It's super easy. Keeping up with it is the thing. I don't know how people do it.
Even in Google Sheets. But that does not mean it is not an essential resource. You need to...
Just because it's easy doesn't mean it's worthwhile. Right, Mrs. What's My Name?
To plan ahead, ideally as far as possible. I would make sure that your content calendar is actually populated a year out with any well-established events, anniversaries, or holidays.
Oh, by the way, I would like to point out that this is something that I said to my PR people in the past, a long time ago. And when social media started popping up, because I manage my own social media, it didn't make a lot of sense. But I was always shocked that a lot of especially Republicans seemed to be like Trump was always behind on major American holidays and what he was going to say. And it always seems like they were like, oh, fuck, it's Veterans Day. Make something up. They were always late to that, right? And I was like, what? When you get in, wouldn't you just go, all right, we're going to do something for Veterans Day, Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July, Christmas, Thanksgiving. We're going to wish, Ramadan and Yom Kippur, wishes on that. We're going to, if we've got a couple of states that we consider swing states and it's the fucking Strawberry Festival or Cheese Festival or whatever once a year in Wisconsin and other place, we're going to put that in the calendar and we're going to schedule these out and you'll pre-tape some of these things. You just go, hey, congratulations, Wisconsin, happy Cheese Day. I eat a sandwich of cheese only. There's no bread. It's just cheese. How is it a sandwich? Because I'm holding it in my hands. And then you take a bite and then cut. And it's hilarious. And then you post that when the time comes. I was always amazed that as much as this guy's talking about it, it's almost like he's looking back and going, they never managed to do that. Where we'll be appearing in Seattle. I'm at the Crocodile next Thursday with Nerd Halen.
If you're going to do a Christmas post, that should already be on your content calendar on January 1st. That way, at the beginning of each month, you can pre-task all of the creative effort that will be necessary to create routine posts for the coming weeks.
Mm-hmm. Right. This is all standard. Which, by the way, this is all standard for any company. It's standard for a lot of celebrities. It's standard for any brand that's trying to make an impact or whatever. And the idea that they have to talk about it like this, the Heritage Foundation has to put together a video to tell incoming Trump appointees how to do this basic shit is stunning.
Content calendar will also help with the planning for policy-driven messaging and campaigns, and help you visualize the balance and the volume of which topics you will cover and what types of media you will use. As you may know, if you've worked in social media or content before, it's very hard to do high production value work last minute.
Yeah, but you work for the Trump organization. Like, all he wants to do is stand in a friggin', in the Rose Garden going, you're very special. January 6th was awesome. You'll always remember it, unless you're one of the two dead women. So go home. I love you. And those of you that are going to jail, I'm not going to pardon you. I'll say I will in a couple of years if I lose, which I did, but I'm not going to even lose a second time, which I'm going to. But if I do get in, I may or may not. It's not important. Cut.
If you actually want to do justice to a particular policy campaign,
why would you want to do that?
You might need several weeks to produce the videos, graphics, landing pages, etc., and get them approved. I absolutely hate fire drills, and a social media team that is constantly working last minute is constantly putting out low quality content and constantly missing opportunities.
By the way, State Department reacts to a lot of things as they're happening. So having a guy who specifically hates reacting to things that are occurring in the moment in charge of your social media, I have to just take a moment with you, if we can, and enjoy the tedious nature of working with the social media director in the State Department for the Trump organization. Anytime something happened that was breaking news or internationally something happened that was outside your control, but you had to respond to. And this guy was literally just riding the fucking parking brake on everybody.
Once you get into a last-minute posture, it becomes very hard to catch up. On the subject of planning, be wary of scheduling posts. At State, we actually had a no scheduled post policy.
Right, because what if something awful happens on that day? Why did you have that policy? Because we scheduled a bunch of posts and then something awful happened that day and we caught shit for going, congratulations, International Ice Cream Day, just as one of our allies has just been stabbed.
You should do what's best for your team, but in a fast-moving news cycle, you do not want to accidentally put out content that is outdated or tone-deaf based on events that have taken place since the scheduling was set.
Not again, anyways. This is getting very dense. Beware of scheduling posts. This is the big one at the bottom. Avoid these fire drills. I don't know why he calls it a fire drill. Like surprises where everybody's running. A fire drill is where you prove that you know where you're going if something happens that's an emergency. A fire drill actually is a better analogy for how you would want to run your social media stuff, because you're like, we've got our system down so much that even when something new comes up, everybody goes to where they're supposed to, and we do what we have already agreed we will do, right? That's what a fire drill is for. Wow.
Number 5, collaboration tools.
Yes. As long as the people will take the QAnon oath, you don't have to worry about what they're going to say.
When I got to the State Department, all the communication into and within the social team took place through an Outlook email listserv that forwarded to the email addresses of everyone on the team.
What a mess. I don't want to hear from Dave.
It was a terrifying fire hose of emails, but that was the way they'd been operating for over a decade. When you came...
Because a lot of the Slack services and stuff just came into existence while Trump was president, like literally in 2017.
On duty, you would sort through a massive inbox of emails to figure out what requests had been made of the office, what communication had taken place across the office, and what approvals had been required.
Cool story, bro. Why don't you tell us how they did it in the 1960s? You used to have to write a letter and put it in an envelope, and then there were cubby holes, and they had this series of tubes. Like, Jesus Christ.
Requested or received by the office to external teams. It was a horrible system.
Horrible.
We got everybody onto Slack for communicating across the social team and
it was unsecured, so that was a problem.
with the creative teams, Google Drive for shared documents, including our internal wiki, and Trello for tracking the social media content creation and approval process. While there were complaints when these platforms were first introduced, I tell you with all sincerity that if I would have removed them when I left at the end of the administration, the team would have burnt down the building in protest. That's how important these tools became.
I don't think literally they would have done that. I think they would have gone, is there something better than Slack? And they'd go, yeah, there's actually a couple things. Whatever. We could probably do all of this in Trello now that I think about it.
If there are other systems that you prefer, like Airtable or Asana or something new, feel free to deploy the stack that makes
But don't be surprised if they burn the White House down.
the most sense for you. But again, there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. And there are a handful of tools that are already used by pretty much every social media team in politics and the private sector.
None of them are secure, and nobody gives a shit. So this is, how much left to this? It's not much left, yeah. The rest of this, by the way, is, again, it's
Number
managerial.
6, pre- and post-publication checklist. This is especially beneficial if you have a team pulling the trigger on each post, but also helpful as a way to slow down and hold yourself accountable if you're the one with that privilege. At some point, the national media decided that any sort of error in a social media post is worthy of its own breaking news story.
No, they didn't decide that. Covfefe is not a single misspelling, and misusing an entire word for something that it absolutely does not represent, it is not a minor mistake, and especially if it's coming from the State Department.
So you need to protect yourself and your team from mistakes. This was our protocol. Check the handles, check the links, proofread for spelling and grammar 3 times, and then publish.
Brilliant. I've learned so much. 3 times. You read each tweet 3 times for spelling.
Then click.
Then argue about how the word stolen is spelled. And then a fight breaks out, and then publish it anyways.
The handles on the live posts, click the links on the live post, and reread the spelling and grammar 3 more times.
Yeah. This is, by the way, again, social media messaging to advance policy from Project 2025. It's about 6 minutes left in it, something like that. He literally put like reread for spelling and grammar 3 times in there. Whew. Yeah, and by the way, they supposedly did this. Imagine all the shit that came out of the White House that was garbled and didn't make any sense and that was written directly by Trump and all this stuff. And know that a lot of it wasn't actually written by him. It was conveyed by somebody else. Dan Scavino, I think, did most of the actual typing on a lot of those things. Misspelled stuff on purpose. Imagine if they hadn't checked stuff 3 times.
Number 7, reporting. If your goal is to improve every week, then you and your team need to know what success looks like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Select the metrics that resonate the most with you and your team.
Yes, like how many people with tiki torches showed up outside the removal of a Robert E. Lee statue. If the number goes up, you're doing your job.
Whether that might be reach, engagements, output, or others, and set goals. Mm-hmm. Design a simple report that the team can pull every week to compare the metrics to your goals, as well as the performance over previous weeks.
It's great. I'm so glad Project 2025 thinks they have to spend time telling this to Trump appointees who will be put in to run social media. That they know that the people Trump is going to put in place are so incompetent at even the specific job that they were picked to do because they've done it before, that they have to be talked through it with the people, like by the Heritage Foundation.
My preference has always been to have a weekly meeting to review this report so that everyone is well informed and can share ideas for improvements.
Which sounds like a bunch of communist gobbledygook. Sharing. Yeah. I wish you could tape his hands to the chair. Principles to guide your content creation process. This is the part I need. Because I got to tell you, while I put on a great live stream, it's hard for me to pull clips and stuff. By the way, you can pull clips on Twitch and post them. And you can also, I think you can clip things from my live streams and share bits out if I say something particularly fascinating and fun. That said, part 3. Principles to guide your content creation process. In step 1, inspiration.
Now, part 3. This will be the last part of the conversation.
Thank God.
And we're going to talk about message.
Also, just for the record, as a communicator, this has not been a conversation. This is a rhetorical video. None of the people that you mean to see this are actually talking to the screen the way I am. And you're not actually hearing me, so I'm an insane person. Never mind.
Best practices. Social media platforms and best practices for them are constantly evolving and changing.
Yeah.
So
I hate fire drills, so never change. Just keep posting whatever you posted on MySpace years ago, and then have a weekly team meeting about it, and then we can all agree on a checklist. I thought this guy...
I'm going to share some high-level concepts that I think ring true despite the platform or the content.
Great. Hit me with your best shot.
The first is to message for the medium.
Yes. Wait, but if it's a medium, shouldn't they know the future and therefore they already know what I'm going to say? Oh, no, sorry. No.
But works well on X, formerly Twitter, is going to be different in many ways from what works well on YouTube or Instagram.
Yes, especially YouTube being the video platform. I tend not to tweet on YouTube, and I tend not to post square still pictures on YouTube as well. I also don't push, but I do live stream on all 3. So
the same can be said in comparing any 2 mediums. Pay attention to how users, including yourself, engage with each of these platforms, and make sure to differentiate.
I think it's mostly this, right? It's either this or this. this or this or this. Is that what you mean?
Differentiate your formatting and style to maximize impact. Think about what image and video aspect ratios will best fit the screen.
Why? Those sizes are already available. Why wouldn't that be in your style guide? Why do I have to fix these things?
If users are watching with the sound off, are there captions to convey the message visually?
That was the whole last part of it. Please tell me it's over. 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 It's over. Please, it's over. Like, nope.
Competitive advantage.
Shit. This is what we care about. Art of the deal, baby. Just being Trump. Front of the pack.
Online media is a battlefield. There are millions
It's not, though.
of individuals and organizations competing for your audience's attention.
So it's a competition, not so much a battlefield. It's more like a sports field, except it's not. Because you'd be in any different shit. Never mind.
You're going toe-to-toe with the biggest athletes, musicians, and celebrities in the world.
And I'm all three. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Yeah, some of us don't have to work at all.
Not to mention the well-staffed social media operations of newsrooms and major brands.
Unlike yours. Gotcha.
You might have only been thinking about your political rivals.
Yeah, absolutely. Wait, no.
A key to standing out and building your audience
Is just to be as loud and obnoxious and shitty as possible, because no matter what happens, because you're in the government, you will get news coverage.
to understand your competitive advantages in the attention game. What information or access?
Yes, it is important to be exciting in everything that you do. And I find that oftentimes work for the medium. For example, if you're on a video medium where you're directly talking to the viewer, it's often important to talk oddly off to the side, as if there's someone there, even when there isn't. Because some people are uncomfortable with looking someone in the eye, even when that person isn't there and could have fled the country months ago. But so looking to the side gives them a break emotionally.
Do you have that differentiates your account from everyone else?
I've got Hal Sparks. I mean, that's all I got. I've got Hal Sparksing the way Hal Sparks does on Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide and other places. But he's busy being Hal Sparks, and that's what Hal Sparks does. And so as long as he's Hal Sparksing, we're good.
No one has better access to your leadership than you do.
I agree. It's true. It's right there. All I got to do is reach down and touch it.
No one has better access behind the scenes within your agency.
This is true. I mean, if it wasn't, I would have to shower a lot more often.
And no one should be able to know the breaking news around your policies and actions before your team.
Well, yeah, it doesn't always work that way, right? That's the point. If a story leaks or breaks or changes, especially if you're in the State Department, like if there's of course there will be stuff that you don't know. You know your policy, but you don't know how you're going to react to it because you don't know what you're reacting to until it happens, Mr. I hate fire drills.
Leverage these areas and others in order to make your accounts indispensable for those who want to be in the know.
Spelled N-O. I thought this was the end. Wasn't this supposed to be the end of the conversation? This is probably step 3.
Next, test and iterate.
Fabulous. I love how he creates, these phrases that just flow,
Don't get complacent with your content. Think strategically about what large or small differences could have a big impact on how audiences engage with your accounts. Implement these different approaches and pay attention. Track their performance and aim to continually move your work in the direction that brings you the most reach and engagement.
Wow, that was just filler. You know when you order a fruit salad and you're like, this is just melon. Yeah, I know. I feel the same way. That's what we just saw. Like, this is supposed to have blueberries and raspberries and strawberries and pineapple even. And just a bunch of honeydew. What the hell is going on? The potato is bigger than the steak. What the hell is happening with this restaurant?
Next, keep your eyes on the horizon.
Great idea. Thank you. Thank you. Finally, he gets to the heart of the matter. Keep your eyes on the horizon. You know, the thing that never actually reaches you, that you have no impact on, that will keep being there whether you live or die. You know, the horizon.
An effective digital communicator is a curious one. No doubt,
You are a strange little fellow, I will say that.
you're already always on your phone. Pay attention to which accounts, whether they're in your sphere or an entirely different one, are building audiences and shaping narratives.
Absolutely. Pornhub, Grindr, eBay. What do you mean?
How can you learn from these accounts and bring those best practices back to the platforms that you manage?
Right. What can you learn from Ashley Madison as a member of the State Department?
I like to keep a short list of accounts that I think are operating at the highest level and continually assessing what tactics that work for them could apply to the accounts in my own portfolio.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, the biggest websites on the planet are porn. So what you're telling us is, to help with your job in the State Department, you watched a lot of porn. Like a lot. Like a Utah viewership level of porn. You just 24/6, because you need a day off because you're just dehydrated and blind. You just watched porn all the time because there's so much to learn. Brought to you by Pornhub. Good Lord.
Make it brag-worthy.
Okay, this is the truly Trump part of this whole thing.
When I started at the State Department, I told all of the career staff teams that I wanted them to make content that they will obnoxiously show off to their friends and family after work.
You know, like they do with revenge porn. You know, think of your work as, I don't know, nudes that Matt Gaetz has on his phone. Walk around like a dickhead showing everybody your latest post. It's a great way to make friends and lose phone calls.
Most people laughed because the idea that the content that they produced would be something they would actually want to share personally never crossed their mind.
Because it represented the government and it was meant to, you know, aimed at a very broad audience instead of kind of charming their dipshit friends. I can't imagine why that would be.
I think this is a good test of whether your team is operating at the highest level.
Well, that's ridiculous.
You want to make content that stands out and that you're proud of showing off.
Stands out from what? Like, you'd look at this, you wouldn't even think the State Department would put out drivel like this.
Even to audiences who aren't interested in or agree with the policy.
Would you show, like, ass cracks and go, hey, check this out. I made you look at the policy. That's good Lord. If your team are not proud of the content being produced, you may not be operating at your fullest potential. Jesus Christ. This is just managerial speak. This is office space level.
Lastly, and perhaps most importantly,
because it's lastly. Most importantly, because this is the end.
do no harm.
That's adorable. Ladies and gentlemen, the idea that the Trump social media director working within the State Department believes that you should do no harm is hilarious.
The truth is that any one social media post is not likely to individually make a significant or even measurable advancement of your policy objectives.
Right. That's why they don't stand out. That's why they're not shocking, because it's the State Department. not a new energy drink, you dipshit.
It could happen, but generally it's going to be the accumulation of a critical mass, not only on social media, but through press conferences, speeches, surrogates, and real-world action.
That last one, that whole, like, I'm just saying, like, legislation or active policy or a change that occurs internationally through the State Department reacting with someone else. I'm just saying that might be a bigger part of it than you think.
But one bad social media post can easily drive the news cycle with at best a distraction and at worst potentially even a poison pill. I know it's not fair.
A poison pill? You mean like you could derail the entire situation? Poison pill.
On a similar note, there is a tendency for young staffers to think that being good at social media means having a lot of followers personally and shooting out viral posts.
Which it does when you're not working for the State Department.
If you're joining the administration to increase your follower count, you're the wrong person for the job.
Yeah, but that's the kind of person who would brag about their shit to their friends when they're working in the State Department. Can you believe they let me put this? I work in the fucking State Department, bro. A fucking, yes. No. I don't know. I'm at a party. Don Jr.'s looking for weed. I was carrying. Next thing you know, I'm in the fucking State Department. Tits, dude. That's the first State Department post with tits. Dude. That's your client base, dummy.
You are delivering the message, but you're often not the messenger.
No, you are the messenger. You are the messenger. You're not the message. You're the messenger. You're the person in charge of. You're the guy on the horse with the fucking scroll rolled up in it, handing it over. You didn't make it up. It's not up to you. If anything, you're the scrivener. You're the person who wrote it down before it was rolled up and handed to the guy. I don't know. The fucking analogy dies here because it's all the same person. But
the president is a messenger.
No, the president is the doer. The message comes from his cabinet about what he wants to say about what he's doing, and then you actually present the message. You convey. They write up the. Never mind.
Cabinet secretaries are
This is so dumb.
messengers. The spokesperson is a messenger. It's very possible for an off message or offensive post from a junior staffer with even a small following to capture far more media attention than the accounts and content that your team is working so hard to amplify every day.
Wait a minute. Did he just refer to Donald Trump as a junior staffer? Oh, it's like there should be a little thing. Also, the president will sometimes fuck this up by writing something ridiculous at 2 o'clock in the morning that will totally throw a monkey wrench in everything you've been working on for months.
Thank you.
Like, you might as well send your style guide over to Donald Trump so he can urinate on it right on the desk in the Oval Office.
So much for taking the time today to have.
And well, we did take the time. Let me tell you, it doesn't always feel like I'm taking time. This time feels taken, I gotta say.
This conversation about operating effectively within a government agency, learning about a toolkit that you can use for
Fabulous.
your social media team,
I learned
as
so
well
much.
as discussing some best practice principles for effectively advancing policies on social media.
On social media.
I want to give a special thanks to Project 2025.
Well, then go ahead and do it. Why would you want? If you want to do it, just do it. You don't have to do it. You don't have to say you're going to do it. You don't say you want to do it. If you want to do it, do it. What's stopping you?
To come and share some of the lessons learned from my time in the administration.
Yeah, I grew as a person.
And I want to wish you all the best of luck.
Well, then go ahead and do it. Why? If you want to wish me all the best, just go. Just say, I wish you all the best. You don't have to say you want to. I will presume you want to if you did. Because why would you do something you didn't want to do in a video that you didn't have to do in the first place?
In your future, hopefully within a presidential administration.
Not this one, though.
And hope that you can use these lessons in order to achieve your goals and to help move policy.
I'm making my dreams come true.
Forward.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Chapter 3 of Project 2025, Social Media Messaging to Advance Policy. Now, this one is, God help us, shorter than a lot of the other ones, so I did it early today. And I would like to say, if I may, that there is a follow-up to this one that is about the actual message itself, which is, this is kind of the tee up for the mechanics. The next one is about actually the propaganda that they're actually trying to convey. And it's sort of a cross between this video and the first two from the ladies that are trying to, make climate change mean, population control, all that stuff. Getting that's where the rubber hits the road if they ever get this together. So there you go. That said, thank you, guys, for sitting through that with me.